Okay, it's 2 o'clock. Let's move on to our third speaker, Etienne Trimeille. Almost a good pronunciation. Sorry for my French. Talking about Lizmap, so please go ahead.
Yes, thanks. Yes, so my name is Etienne Trimeille. Indeed, it's cool. So I'm going to present you about Lizmap, like what we have done the last year, and also the current version that we are going to release very soon, and also our roadmap. So basically, you all know QGIS. It's a mobile application. You have like Mergin maps and QField. We can do also some processing algorithm. And also there is QGIS Server. So it's the same core, the same source code for the QGIS Server. So it has the same rendering engine, etc. You can read all your project settings. And it can then distribute maps or PDFs or features through the network. We can extend QGIS Server capabilities with Python plugins. It's what we have done for us with Lizmap. And also in QGIS Server, there is some additional requests that we can do to have the legend, for instance, in JSON format, or also some getprint, which are not OGC standards. So Lizmap is like a kind of component on top of QGIS Server to bring you the front end of your QGIS project, but in the web browser. So basically, Lizmap, so first it's free, it's open source, it's available on GitHub. You can download it. It's to generate web maps and to provide your web interface for a QGIS project. A single QGIS project will have its own WMS, WFS streams. No code is required. It's secure. It's like a proxy for QGIS Server. It manages all the user and rights in the Lizmap web interface. QGIS Server is not directly exposed over the network, so you will have some rights and permissions that you can set on the web interface. It's also powerful because you can enable different features according to different projects. For instance, you can enable or not the attribute table, enable or not editing forms, also printing if you have some layouts, A4 landscape, A4 portrait, etc. Also maybe this kind of groups of users can't print and this other group can print this layout, etc. Also we have, like in QGIS, we have plugins. In Lizmap we have some JavaScript script that we can add to add some small features. If you have some JavaScript knowledge, you can try to hack or change a menu or like add a button to make this feature which is not by default in Lizmap. And also we have modules it needs to be installed on the server side. It's to enable other features in Lizmap according to your needs. Lizmap is quite old, I would say, like it has already 13 years of active development. It started with 2 of my colleagues a long time ago, and so we are catching up the development. We're also trying to catch new features in QGIS Server. So that's just, for instance, like the project opened in QGIS on the left and opened in Lizmap on the right side. So we can find again the legend and the same symbology, layers, etc. So some key features, as I said, you can manage rights within Lizmap at different levels. At repositories, it's a group of QGIS project, or at the project level, also at the layer level, and we can also go one step further at the feature level if you want to see like one municipality or not according to a group of users. For editing forms, you can edit your data which are stored in PostgreSQL. So you can design all your, it's taking your forms from QGIS. So you use the drag and drop form in QGIS, you set your widgets, like is this a drop-down menu, is this an input text field, etc. And then we can find again this form in the web interface. Also, if you have some QGIS layouts, they are exposed. We support Atlas or non-Atlas layouts. We have some dataviz possible. You can see that on the GIF. Also, we support QGIS relations between tables. So we rely on a QGIS plugin called Lizmap, obviously. It allows you to configure your QGIS project and to choose which tools are available or not. As we are relying on the QGIS API, we can add a table showing you some rules that we have noticed with our customers or with feedbacks about like things which can be improved when you publish your project on the web. We don't try to put blockers on your project. We just are trying to help you to notice maybe this table doesn't have a primary key, define it in PostgreSQL, etc. And QGIS Server doesn't manage well when your PostgreSQL table doesn't have a proper primary key, and sometimes we forget. So the plugin tries to help you to tell you, okay, this layer doesn't have, for instance, SSL. That's for security reason. Also, preventing you if you have a SCW raster. This is not possible on Linux servers due to a license. So it's just warning you, okay, be careful, this layer won't be visible, etc. So the current roadmap, so we are quite active. We do a release every month. So for now, we are at branch 3.8. The first version was released during the QGIS user conference in Bratislava last year. Now we are at version 10 in May. Branch 3.9 will be released really soon, like I think when I will get back to France, more or less, next week or in 2 weeks. My colleagues are just busy polishing things, and we are already at the third feature freeze version. And as 3.9 is in feature freeze, we have started branch 3.10 for new developments. So similar to QGIS.org, we do a monthly release, and that's a general advice, but please don't stay on .0 version in any software that you use. Like we know, when QGIS release 3.40.0, then there is a blog post, there is everything, like some on social media. People download QGIS 3.40.0, and then they forget that there is a monthly release every month. And the 0.0 at the end is very important. It's like I would say, the most buggy version of QGIS or any software that you use. So please don't forget to update from time to time your softwares, and also plugins. Like you have a small blue bar at the top saying that you have some plugins updates. Many bugs are already fixed sometimes. I know developers add new bugs, but sometimes some bugs are already fixed by new versions. So let's see some 3.8 key features. We added a new option to render like a world map as a single WMS image. That's quite technical, but you need to dive a little bit into Lizmap to see, like, I mean, the web browser is very different than the QGIS Desktop, and we need to make requests to ask QGIS Server to render layers. And in QGIS Desktop, you have your layer orders, but then you have labels at the end. So there is some options to decide how to render maps. We improved end-to-end relations. We can do some, in the URL, we can give parameters to open automatically a dedicated feature with its geometry, etc. On the landing page, we can add now some contents based on if the user is logged in or not. We can add some content at the top or at the bottom, etc. or some things, some other features, and I want just to thank Fonalia for like they did. It's an Italian company. They did some contribution on the source code. Let's get back to the list of features. So it's a new component which landed in Lizmap 3.8. It's quite convenient to know, like, to go to another feature. It's like used in revenue relations. We can have a compact list of features. We can click on it, and when it will open its own attribute table. And we are going to improve this new component and to give like more features to this component. One new thing in Lizmap 3.9, it's using QGIS expressions. So the first column, that's the display expression that you can set in QGIS. So you can set a complex expression with concat, etc., or to transform your labels. And then we added a new way to add like virtual columns, the same as in QGIS, but now it's on the web as well. So that's just for the example, virtual code, virtual area. It's like computed QGIS expressions. And because QGIS expressions can be dangerous, and as these QGIS expressions are on the front end in the JavaScript, we don't want people to hack and do some QGIS expressions which might be dangerous. So we added a kind of safety. That's why it's written not allowed. It's like we considered some expressions to be like we could like overpass some user rights, etc. But it brings a lot of new features because like just using virtual columns and expressions. I mean, we know that QGIS expressions are already powerful, so now we can expose them as well in this compact list of features. Some improvements as well in the relations management, so we respect more like the widget when you do your drag and drop form layout, and also to create, I know it's not easy sometimes, when you want to create a child, when you have a relationship and you want to add a new child object, first you need the primary key of the parent table. So we added like some logic to open the form correctly and to keep the state of the parent feature. So here in this example, it's to add on a given apartment a new tenant inventory. So one apartment can have one or many tenant inventory. PostgreSQL actions. So this is similar to QGIS actions, where when you open your vector layer properties, you have an action tab. It's not the same feature because we can't for technical reason, but we are inspired by this feature in QGIS. It's to run some arbitrary code on a feature. So in the GIF, I'm just clicking on a fire hydrant and I'm asking, okay, select the buildings which are within 100 meters from this fire hydrant. So all the code is in a SQL query. And we added some new context when we write actions about like project and layer context. And also in 3.9, now the user can draw also a geometry, which will be sent to PostgreSQL after. Quick overview about like also some features. So drawing circular geometry when we draw, it's a contribution from Fonalia. We added also the drawing about import and export into flat GeoBuff. Maybe you don't know this format, but it's a cloud optimized vector format. Also under the hood, we have quite a few things, but I'm going to skip. We have an API documentation like for JavaScript and PHP, if you want to dive in. We also added recent REST API. This is available like starting last May and June 2025. It's a REST API to allow more actions from the QGIS plugin about managing repositories. Maybe soon we can imagine from the QGIS browser. You might have later all your Lizmap servers and repositories, and you can create, update some new directories on the server and manage rights. So it's a new module, and it will be available next month. So as I said, we can extend features from Lizmap by adding what we call modules. We will try to tend to integrate some modules into core. It makes the maintenance easier for us. It's easier for you because it's already bundled into the main application. But for now, it stays some modules outside of core Lizmap. So I would say there is a presentation module. It's to make some kind of storytelling. It was made popular by another proprietary GIS software to make some slides within Lizmap, so you can add some pictures or some YouTube videos, and it will make a kind of slide deck where you can do next, etc. to present some slides, and for each slide you can define is it on the right or the left, and which map, like the extent. So maybe one day I will do my slides using this module. Map Builder, that's another module to combine different layers coming from different QGIS projects, but on the web interface. So it's showing you all your QGIS project, and then inside all your layers, and you can add them to combine different layers from different QGIS projects, but not using QGIS Desktop, just on the web interface. And we did quite a lot of styling overhaul, and also some new features like filter by extent or filter by keywords, etc. PG routing, that's based on the PG routing PostgreSQL extension. It's to have a start and end point, and then it will just make the query and show you all the instructions for the given path, and you can draw and add some intermediate points. WPS module. Soon as well, we are going to improve this module. I mean, I have one colleague working on this to add like the new OGC processes API. So basically, it's to run, all the processing toolbox from QGIS on the right side. It's to expose some of these algorithms on the web interface. So you can define which algorithm or your model if you want a more complex workflow, and to be able to run this algorithm from your web browser using QGIS Server in the backend, of course. So it will expose your input values and the results, etc., and you can download them. So this will have some updates very soon in the coming weeks. So that's very under the hood, but we are using Prosh4JS, and we wrote again like Prosh4RS using Rust language. So it's also hosted on GitHub. You can try if some of you are some nerds about projection, and if you have some feedbacks about Prosh4RS using Rust and WebAssembly, please provide some feedbacks. We will switch soon as well. Also, PyQGIS Server. We wrote this this software to have a better management of QGIS processes, because we are running QGIS Server on a server, and we got some issues when like processes were spawned by Apache or Nginx, and like how processes were like sometimes even destroyed suddenly, and how we can better handle the cache of QGIS projects within each processes. So we wrote QGIS. It will be like a QGIS Server version 2. It's just we are also trying this internally, but it's on GitHub. I think it won't be displayed well, but all the links are on GitHub repository. The future of Lizmap. So as I said, 3.9 is in feature freeze, so 3.8 started. We have attribute table managed on the server side, so it will allow millions of lines with pagination just using the server side. Before it was mainly all on the client side, but then we couldn't handle a lot of lines in the attribute table, so we'll rely more on the server side for this part. We also have a request about not using QGIS Server to render a map like in an image, PNG or JPEG, but we also want to rely on a vector layer in open layers. So it will allow more features from open layer, like clustering or interactivity when you drag and drop your mouse over a feature. So it's to serve vector data using a vector layer source from open layers. And we have also layouts portfolio. It's a request from the Mirandela city in Portugal, from Natural GIS in Portugal. So it's like a set of maps when you have a feature and you want different layouts printed for a dedicated feature. We also want to increase features, from the Lizmap compact table that I showed you. We have different ideas about this. Catching up with QGIS editing form capabilities, because QGIS is adding new features every time, and we want to support more QGIS expressions in different contexts when evaluating default values, etc. So we have plenty of ideas. Improve the copy paste of geometries between tools, and also some work under the hood that no one will notice maybe, or it's very hidden. But as I said, Lizmap is 12 years old, and there is still some components using open layers too. Sorry for this old version, but it's a lot of migration, and for now there is 2 maps on top of each other. But we do it step by step by migrating components from another components with OpenLayers 10. As I said, we want to integrate some modules into core, like presentations and PG routing. IT profile is to draw a line, and using a MNT or API for our French provider, we can have then the altitude profile of the line. We want to support the COG raster for drawing this profile. Also QGIS authentication database. Yeah. And also that's very specific, but we would like to improve performance using different QGIS server dedicated to some task. So because it's quite heavy for QGIS server to load a whole project with all layouts inside, even if maybe just a user will print a PDF later or maybe never. QGIS server will load everything, even all layouts. So we want to have dedicated QGIS server running for a dedicated task, for instance, printing layouts. And we want some more asynchronous actions, like printing PDF or exporting attribute table. This can be a long process sometimes. So we are going to have a kind of router for some specific requests. Also, we are trying to improve social media or like organize, it's my wish to organize some online events to meet some users because it's open source and we don't know our users. So please, if you are using Lizmap, don't hesitate to raise your hands and talk to us or say, okay, I'm using Lizmap like this or whatever, because it's always nice to have some feedbacks from our users. Yes. And also, if you want to contribute, that's the state of translation, the top 10 with English. So thanks to the contributors. And yes, that's just some links about the GitHub repositories and demos, etc. Thanks.
Thank you very much.